Thoughts watching that?
The military is kind of wrapped in glass for a good reason, right? And Trump is breaking the glass, and he's pulling out the hammer, and he's slamming it. And that's what deploying active duty Marines in L.A. is. This is absolutely uncharted territory. It is the most dangerous course of action, and it is part of the plan. We've talked about this for months. He is on plan. This is what he said he was going to do. This is what we feared and warned he could do. And now he's doing it. And California is not a warm-up. It's not a test case. It's the first place. It's where he's starting. And he will have other states like Texas, where Abbott said, come on in, bring in the National Guard. Huckabee Sanders in Arkansas says, come on, bring them in. And you're going to have a balkanization of America with our military and our troops in the crosshairs, where you've got blue states that are going to fight him on it, like Gavin Newsom is trying to do, and red states are going to welcome him in. And our military, our most sacred, cherished, strong, dominant military, is in the crosshairs. And of course, our enemies are celebrating. This is the best possible scenario for Vladimir Putin. It's Osama bin Laden's dream to see active duty Marines clashing with American protesters in L.A., and I fear and worry it's just a start.
What can be done, or who can stop it?
That is the question. That is the most important question in America right now, and I don't have an answer. But every single politician that comes on here and sounds the alarm and worries about it, the question for every elected leader is, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to stop it? What levers of power do you have? Because stopping it now is critical because it's gaining momentum. He does have popular support in some places. He does have some support within the military, and it's going to accelerate. And I think a really critical point that I think Tom and others have cited is the senior military leadership. I know they're speaking out behind closed doors, but this is a time for them to also push the limits and break the glass of speaking to the American people in whatever way they can to try to slow this down and rein it in.
Rewind the tape a little bit and just dig into your point about Sarah Huckabee Sanders and red state governors saying, come on in. What are they ceding? I mean, why would they acknowledge that ICE is unsafe in their states? Because that's the clear connotation. If they need the active duty military in their states, it means they can't protect. I mean, it doesn't make any sense on Earth One.
It makes sense if they want to enable his grand plan,
which is what?
To assess more, to amass more power and to have control of everything in this country.
But why would governors want to turn over control of their states to the United States military?
Because they're complicit. I mean, these are people who are on board with the entire plan. I mean, Huckabee's perfect. I mean, imagine if Tommy Tuberville gets elected in Alabama. This is all the pieces that have been put in place so this stuff can start to unfold. Gavin Newsom can try like hell to push back, but I don't know if he could stop him. I mean, he's going to try to sue him and say it's illegal, but he's going to invoke Title 10. He can invoke the Insurrection Act. And I think maybe more importantly, Nicole, there's kind of a failure of imagination in America right now. And we had that same problem before January 6th. And this weekend, we've got a military parade happening in Washington. What happens if Trump doesn't want to make them leave after the parade? What if he says, let's just keep them there because I feel unsafe, the Capitol is unsafe, we're worried about protesters? These are the kinds of most dangerous course of actions we have to think about as Americans, and especially national leaders have to challenge them on, not just what's happening now, but what's happening next. Will you promise, do you assure us that those troops are going to leave after the parade? Or are you going to find a reason to keep them there?
Reporting suggests that Donald Trump hasn't had any conversion in terms of what's really a heartbreaking personal view of the men and women who sacrifice everything for our country. The Atlantic, I think, there was sort of our understanding of Donald Trump before the Atlantic reported that he believed the men and women who died in service of our country were suckers and losers, and there was our understanding of Donald Trump after that story broke. It's almost a fault line in our politics, in our politics in the era of Donald Trump. This is from military.com about yesterday's political rally. Quote, it was supposed to be a routine appearance, a visit from the commander-in-chief to rally the troops, boost morale, and celebrate the Army's 250th birthday week. Instead, what unfolded Tuesday at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, bore little resemblance to the customary visit from the president and defense secretary. Donald Trump unleashed a speech laced with partisan invective, goading jeers from a crowd of soldiers positioned behind his podium, blurring the long-standing sacrosanct line between the military and partisan politics. As Trump viciously attacked his perceived political foes, he whipped up boos from the gathered troops directed at Gavin Newsom amid the president's controversial move to deploy the National Guard and Marines against protesters in L.A., as well as former President Joe Biden and the press. The soldiers roared with laughter and applauded Trump's diatribe in shocking and rare public displays of troops taking part in naked political partisanship. That's the political piece. Here's the stagecraft. Internal 82nd Airborne Division communications reviewed by military.com reveal a tightly orchestrated effort to curate the optics of Trump's visit, including handpicking soldiers for the audience based on political leanings and physical appearance. One unit-level message bluntly saying, quote, "No fat soldiers. If soldiers have political views that are in opposition to the current administration and they don't want to be in the audience, then they need to speak with their leadership and get swapped out."
This is the plan. This has always been the plan. This is the plan that Hegseth has been executing across the military by purging any opposition. And now it's unfolding in a more local level and a more optical level. It's outrageous. It's disgusting. It's grossly un-American. And it's putting our troops in the worst possible place, which is in the middle of America's politics. Right? 18-year-olds are now stuck between protesters and ICE. They're being used in campaign rallies. But I think maybe there is another development that's important that you and I have been talking about. A counter narrative in America is developing. And it's Gavin Newsom, right? For better or worse, he every day is now doing an address to the nation and to the world that's providing a counter narrative for this entire country. It's what we've been looking for and to see who would rise to the moment. He's been selected by Trump. But the question is, will there be others? Will there be other governors who will do daily addresses to the people
where's
of their
Pritzker?
state?
Where's Shapiro? Where are the other governors?
And where are people like Wes Moore, who's an 82nd Airborne veteran himself, is not far from the Capitol? This is an opportunity for all of them to create a counter narrative to America, to their states, and to the world.
I'm smiling because it's never you that I have to count on sounding the optimistic note. But I will take it. Paul, what impact does that have on the actual day-to-day lives of the men and women of the military, which I haven't seen new statistics from the last 4 months, but remains the most diverse workforce in our country?
I think maybe most importantly right now, it makes them less popular, makes them less trusted, makes them less respected. And that's what's happening right now. He's driving down the popularity, the trust, and the security that America has with its military. And that is most dangerous above all. I think we've all been concerned about the civil-military divide, really, since we stopped having a draft. I mean, this has been great for the military to have a professionalized military, but it's not great for our democracy when a small group of people continue to serve over and over again. And Trump, is, in my view, has always been starting his culture war with the Pentagon because it's the easiest to control, because he's their boss, because they have to follow orders, and because you can do things like cast a stage because they have to listen to what their boss said. So you can create a situation where that picture is overwhelmingly male and white. It looks like Trump's America, right? And all of these attacks on bases, on ships, are animating tools in the culture war. That's what it is. He's using them as ways to further that emotion, that agenda, that grievance, and he's starting with the military. That's always been the plan, because once you get a hold of the military, it makes everything else easier.